the Sialda court in Kolkata will at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow pronounce the quantum of sentence to be served by the Arjikar rape convict Sanjay Roy. Before the sentence, the mother of Sanjay Roy has said that she has no objection with the hanging of her son and that God will ensure justice for her family. In the history of India, only 4 cases have led to hangings of convicts when it comes to rape and murder, be it the Abhaya case in 2020 or the Kanta Prasad Tiwari hanging in 1997. Executions have been rare. The swift conclusion of this trial in just 57 days has raised hopes, but the family of the victim says that they want further inquiry to conclude quickly. Is that possible is what we will examine next, and we will discuss this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Brinda Adige, activist, Dr. Swati Jindal, advocate on record, Supreme Court, also joins us on the program. Dr. Kiya Gupta, Senior Medical Officer, Department of Gastroenterology, the Tagore Hospital, joins us. Dr. Hemika Agarwal, psychiatrist, also with us on the program to talk more about this. Brinda Adige, I'll begin with you. I hope you can hear me. Brinda Adige, well, everybody would be, in fact, at this point in time, comparing this case to what happened in 2012. Of course, those convicts were sentenced to death. There are very many similarities between these two cases as well. When you talk about the gruesomeness of the crime, when you talk about the perpetration of the crime, and even if you talk about the sensationalism or the controversial nature of this trial, it fits the bill for this particular convict to be considered, or this particular crime to be considered, Brinda Adige, as the rarest of rare. Where do you see this pronouncement going tomorrow, when the judge is going to ensure that justice is served?
I agree that this must be considered as rarest of rare, but we must keep in mind that this is not the only culprit. He is not the only rapist. So until and unless the justice system can get all the other culprits to book, it is not enough just to say that now we have done our job, because then the case will close and it will die. There has to be a procedural, justified closure to the case, where that means all the 8-9 people who have committed that crime on her, who have murdered her, killed her, must be brought to book. So it cannot be appeasing sentiments or saying, yes, see, we got this person, now take this person and go. I do hope the court is going to look at all of that tomorrow, because it is important for us to keep in mind that the evidence, the place where the crime happened, was also destroyed. There were renovations done, there were some repairs done. So I'm still wondering why the court has not pulled up the management. Why are those people not held accountable? Because if this case is not coming to a logical conclusion because of a lack of certain evidence or destruction of certain evidence, then there are others also who are equally involved as rapists and as murderers. They abetted all of it. So I do want to look at this case slightly different from the Abhaya case that you are referring to, because there we had the culprits. All 4 of them were there. But here we don't have. We also know that institutional laxity, institutional irresponsibility, including on the part of the police, is not being considered over here. All of that requires to be considered when we say that somebody is being brought to justice.
All right. Okay. Dr. Swati Jindal, if you're here with us, Dr. Swati Jindal.
Yes.
All right. What have you made of this case? What can be expected tomorrow in terms of the quantum that the judge is going to pronounce? Obviously, it's a guessing game at this point in time, but going by the experiences and going by the fact that this has been a case which once again after 2012 has shaken up the national consciousness.
Well, Ms. Brinda is right on that count. There is, even though on the face of it, the 2 cases appear to be quite similar, but there is a very, very huge difference in both, in the sense that there was a lot of interference in this RG case, a lot of playing around with the evidence. On the other hand, when we talk about the quantum of punishment, there is no doubt in my mind that it will be the gravest of punishments, which is what is deserved actually, because what I feel is like the very, very, very famous saying as it goes, that justice should not only be done but also seen to be done. we have to set an example here. And if after such a huge uproar, if the gravest of the grave punishment is not given, then what can be said then in that case? So my bet would be on the death penalty.
Dr. Kia Gupta, this is obviously not just a case about what it is, but this is also a case against a doctor. All right, Dr. Kia Gupta is yet to join us. Dr. Hemika Agarwal, psychiatrist, with us on the program as well. Dr. Hemika, your thoughts on, why do we get caught up in this rut over and over again about crimes against women, about the sensationalism surrounding it and the heinousness of it? Obviously, we have spoken multiple times about the sensitivity and the sensitization that needs to be done when it comes to first responders and the people who are handling such sensitive issues. But the fact of the matter is that this is all a game of mentality which has not changed regardless of the depth or the heinousness of the crimes.
Your question itself has the answer. Why do we need the media every time for such cases and for people to be mobilized? The general public is in uproar. This should not be the case. Why is the justice system waiting for media and public to have the wheels of justice in motion? So between 2012 and now, I don't think these are the only two cases, as my prior people have just said. There are so many cases, and how we deal with these cases also have an impact in the future. If we make a mess of reporting, as Dr. Swati just said, and if the evidence is tampered with or made a mockery of, then reporting will also be reduced. So we are actually encouraging under-reporting, and also when we make laws, do we really ensure that they are followed till proper delivery of the system? This does not usually happen, and I think under-reporting is one of the major causes. And when justice is delayed, it is actually not just denied; it also has a bad impact on the mental health of the people. Me being a doctor, me being a female, I would say, not only crimes against women or women doctors, there are crimes against men doctors also. I am not only a representative of women doctors. So why are they are also beaten up in emergencies? Nobody says anything about it. Why do I only speak about this case? I represent male, female, all doctors. I'm also a doctor. So justice is not given in every case, and I'm very sorry. Sensationalizing a case gives justice in this country. So this is the problem. What happens tomorrow should be an example, and because in psychology, as we say, setting an example also sets fear in the hearts of possible perpetrators of future crime. So that should be done, and prevention of crime should also be one of our agendas. We focus only on giving punishment to the severe cases and those in the media, but prevention is usually ignored. So as Ms. Brinda said, prevention should also be done, and justice delivery should be focused on specially.
That's a good point. Let me in fact rope in Dr. Kia Gupta, who joins us here as well. Dr. Kia Gupta, we spoke the other day, ma'am, and there are going to be expectations from the justice system to produce a precedent which is going to serve as a deterrent for future crimes. Are your expectations in alignment with that thought, ma'am?
Yeah, there should be the crime is gruesome, and the quantum of punishment should match the crime. But like my earlier speaker said, the responsibility of not this kind of crime happening lies also with the state structure. They should give protection to the females, the professionals wherever they are working, and that responsibility, because there will always be people of pervert mind, perpetrators. So all the time we have seen so many punishment. We have seen punishment in the case of Ranga Billa. We have seen punishment in the case of Nirbhaya. But does it deter from rapes happening? So to stop this kind of crimes from happening, the vigilance should be more on the side of the state machinery. So that, along with the quantum of crime, should match the quantum of punishment. I think that should be our focus.
All right, that should be the focus. And Brindaji, uh, prevention obviously cannot stem just from mere mention alone. There has been a conversation going on for decades now about reforms, not only in the judicial system but in policing, as well as the way crimes are handled and the way perpetrators are booked and the way victims are treated. Do you think much has changed after Nirbhaya? And does it take a heinous crime for the system to be jolted, or do you think that there has to be a spree of educated minds who have to come together to make sure that the laws are already there, but their implementation is what fails?
You're absolutely right. I do not want to comment about all the educated minds coming together, but I would certainly want to reiterate that police and judicial reforms must be done on an absolutely mission mode, emergency mode. Because if those reforms are not done, the laws and the sensitization programs and the policies that we are time and again bringing in does not seem to bring anything to any change and transformation that we want to see and look and ensure for our children and women. Now, that said, this is possible only with political will. We are seeing time and again, party after party, that the political will is lacking to ensure the execution of police and judicial reforms. Irrespective of what people might say, irrespective of people saying that, we do not have the kind of funding to bring in those reforms, that I think is something that cannot be accepted. Not in an India that we are talking about today, that we don't have the funding or the budgetary allocations. Because right now, whatever we are seeing are cosmetic changes. That isn't enough. It is not going to change. You and I know your channel has also reported so many times when actual crimes happen on women, the police don't register the case. They make all kinds of excuses. So the state structures are deeply patriarchal. And for this patriarchy to be removed, there has to be some form of action taken on a person sitting in a position of power and authority when they don't do their job. We haven't ever heard of a police officer getting filed as under dereliction of duty. We have still not heard of any judge or magistrate or prosecutor who has been pulled up for a case that has gone south. It has not worked. So what are we looking at? We are not pinning down responsibility and accountability. That said, all of the other programs, all of the other policies are just policies and programs which are cosmetic in nature. We want change after 77 years. If this change is not possible in a country like India, where else can we talk about any kind of model or vision?
Absolutely. Swati Jindal, you cannot in fact remove the word from reforms when it comes to the judicial prowess in this nation as well. How do you think that has also led to a lot of lethargy in the system, which has resulted in continuous crimes of this heinous nature?
See, time and again, I have brought it to the notice of those who are non-legal people that when we are sitting in our drawing rooms or when we are on the road or when we are outside the court, it is very easy for us to say that, oh, what are the courts doing? They are so lethargic. Ms. Vrinda, in fact, just now said that, I have not heard of a case where a judge or a magistrate has been pulled up. I would beg to differ there because time and again, judges and magistrates have been pulled up for a decision that seemed vague or that seemed outrageous. That is not the case. Judges are constantly pulled up. Even police, for that matter, is pulled up for their inaction. But we cannot just put everything, just club everything together, and we cannot blame everything on the inaction of the state. See, when the reforms happen, as they have, in fact, in the last 77 years, I wouldn't say that nothing has happened. Even after the Nirbhaya case, we saw a reform in the Juvenile Justice Act. We must understand that the human mind is conditioned to such a level that we try to adjust to our environment. And it does indeed take a heinous jolt like Nirbhaya or for that matter, the Kolkata case to, shake us out of our lethargy. So we cannot lay the entire blame on the judicial system or on the state machinery and say that, oh my God, they're doing nothing. What we need are the reforms from the grassroots level. We need people who will get up and raise their voice against something that is happening in front of their eyes and not wait for the police to come and then say that the police got late and that is why this thing happened. I am not favoring the police for their inaction. Please don't take me wrong here. But I am saying that this is a change that has to come from within and that has to come from each one of us. Yes, when you say that the reforms have happened, but what we need is a stricter implementation, I'm with you on that. As far as the laws are concerned, we have changes that are on point. If you remember, in the 2019 amendment, there was no such thing. Before that, there was no such thing as sexual harassment and how it should be penalized. All these things were brought in as per the changing need and requirement of the, of the country. The fact that more and more women started participating in the work, we saw crimes like stalking, voyeurism all being penalized after 2019. We saw various changes in the Juvenile Justice Act. A person could not just get away by saying that, okay, I'm under 18, so you cannot touch me now. There will be no criminal record. All these things were corrected. We have indeed come a long way, I would say. But what we need right now is for the public to wake up and the public to realize that, it will, if it is happening to someone else today, it might happen to you tomorrow. So you might as well stand up, own up to your responsibility and be there and face the action whenever it happens, so that you don't really, you don't really need to wait for anyone. Be out there and be accountable. It is your country after all.
All right, Dr. Himika Agarwal, this obviously once again points towards action or action by the society at large. You cannot blame the judicial system alone. You cannot even blame the media alone for the kind of sensationalism or for the kind of attention a case like this receives. The fact of the matter is, once again, pointing out to the first thing that I asked you, is the mentality of people and how they look at this crime.
I think firstly about these laws and reforms, they will be more effective if they are made more transparent. The taxpayer would love to know what happens to their money. If we are so enthralled by the West, why don't we copy their system? There, even the donations are accounted for and everything is transparent. So when that happens, we can expect better efficacy in the system. And I would also say, for the mentality of the people, is the common person below judiciary? Is the common person not above judiciary, or is the judiciary not for the person? We do see cases where sometimes judgments given by lower courts are completely, the higher courts are completely against those given by the lower courts. If a common doctor is penalized for a wrong judgment, if for errors they are penalized, why aren't the lower courts penalized? Why, if the common man sees wrong judgments being penalized, the problems in the judiciary, the police, etc., the people who are at mistake, they being punitive actions be taken against them, they will feel better. They will feel that they are actually residents of this country. They will feel that this country is there. They won't be scared of these systems. Truthfully, the mentality of the common person is they are scared of going to these systems for help, because apart from corruption, the delays and the technical problems are so huge that people want to stay away. They don't want to report. Again, I'm saying they don't want to report. So making it more transparent and punishing the people who are not giving justice also is important, and it will give people faith in the system, and our media is doing the work. Let everybody else also participate in that, and let people who are at fault be penalized, because this sets an example for everybody else. And punishment comes from top to bottom, not just from bottom to top.
All right. Well, would like to thank everyone who were a part of this conversation. Thank you so much.